Impala still watching carefully, still alarm calling. And it actually seems as though the Impala are moving closer, which is quite typical. Now, who have we got here? Is it Tinyo? I didn't see a big scar in his face. Let's have a look. We'll try and get a good view of him, though, before we try and identify him. Now, Brett, you're wondering... Come on, Jigger. Well, James, you may have jinxed me, because Jigger doesn't want to go into reverse this morning. Here he comes again. Now, Brett, sorry, you want to know how much do lions weigh? Well, this beautiful male lion probably weighs in excess of 200 kilograms. But a female lion, normally around 150 to about 160 kilograms, is a decent size. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I think the largest male ever recorded was about 250 kilograms, which is ginormous. Now, this is quite tricky maneuvering here. Darby, we're just going to go through a couple of trees. There he comes again. Go to try and get around him here. I apologize, I do need to just try and concentrate. There's quite a few terminalias, so silver cluster leaf, which do make it difficult to try and navigate through. Right, sneak through here. You're good, Darby? Just watch the one on the right. It's got a couple of prickly thorns. Here he is. Hello. And it seems to be Mr. Tinyo. Looks like it, doesn't it? You can see the... not the nicest skin. Now he's smelling. I don't know what he's smelling. Let's see where he's going. He won't be able to catch these impala, I don't think, because they know he's here. They're shouting at him. They are moving away. Some of them were coming a bit closer to make sure that they don't lose sight of him and they can keep watching him where he decides to go. But let's carry on. Let's not lose him. Just need to listen to the game drive radio. There's a... I think someone... Boy, let's go over here. Now, I do apologize if I don't talk too much. I need to just try and get through. Are you okay, David? Yeah? Good. It's just a little shrub. Let's try and keep up with him because I can't see him anymore. Okay, I'm going to try and get back on the road. He's going towards the road again. It's because it's getting quite thick in here, of course. And that's what's so nice about Rusty, Jigger, and Wendy is they are so zippy. Onto the road we go. Hopefully we're going to catch him now. He was going along here. He was sort of just... Here he is. Hello, big boy. Gonna get in front of him. Let's go up ahead and get him walking towards us. Here he is. Beautiful big man. Look how lovely his mane is starting to look. You can see the dark colors coming through nicely. It's got long and quite thick on the chest. Darkening on top of the head. They really are starting to look like lovely lions now, the Birminghams. He's contact calling. And now he's marking as he goes along. Still trying to pick up on a scent of, I don't know who he's looking for. Perhaps he's trying to relocate the rest of the pride again. Seems as though all the impala have now moved right out of the way. It's gone very quiet. Hello, Duck Dodgers, who is a new viewer with us today. Welcome, and we hope you continue watching. Now, you're wondering, why don't these lions just not pay us any attention? Now, that's because we've been interacting in the vehicles with these animals for over 30 years, so they've almost become habituated to us. So not as humans, the human figure when you're out on foot, but in the vehicle. They're used to the big solid shapes and the noises we make and the different smells that they get. So they've become very much relaxed around the vehicles now. Of course, every animal, like humans, they have moods. Some days they may be more relaxed around you than others. So you've just got to read their behavior. It's just incredible when he does do that contact call. It's so much louder than the females. But let's hear if he does it again. Perfect. That actually suits us because the next sort of section of thicket that he was going into would have been a nightmare to try and follow him. So I'm glad he's had a little break and has sat down next to us. That wasn't a very good attempt at a call. He didn't make any sound. He just opened his mouth. No, now it seems as though he doesn't want to make the noise at all. Hello, Leilani, who has also recently only just started watching Safari Live. Welcome again, and we're so glad that you are continuing to watch. Now, you'd like to know how many prides of lions are in the area, and do I know exactly how many individuals are in each pride? Well, we really only see the Nkahumas, which consists of 5 adult lionesses and 8 cubs of various ages and sexes. And then we see the Birmingham males, which are 4 males. There used to be 5, but unfortunately one died because of injuries that he sustained from a buffalo. Now this is Tinyo, one of the Birminghams. You can see he's got a scar. It's hard to see it now, but when he looks towards us, you can see he's got a scar on his lip. Almost actually healing really well there. You can't see it. If he looks towards us, you see it quite nicely. And the reason why he was called Tinyo was because at one point that scar sort of left a big gap in his flesh, and you could see his canine sticking out. So Tinyo means tooth. We also see that Salalas, which was 2 females and 3 males, young boys though. Then every now and then the Torchwood Pride, I'm not sure how many they consist of though. They seem to be much further east. And then the Sticks, which is 3 adult lionesses, and I'm uncertain as to how many cubs they have now. Unfortunately, they did have 8 little cubs, but they all passed on due to an outbreak of mange. But I believe that one female has actually given birth, and I believe it's 2 cubs, if I'm not mistaken. So if you look on the top of his shoulder, can you see how he's got that sort of bit of skin that's missing there? Or not skin, hair. Now, we believe that he was the source as to who started the outbreak and the spread of mange. He's looking for something. Maybe he's looking for Mfumo, the other one of his brothers. Maybe he's having a look for them. Maybe he is trying to find the lionesses, but he's quite far off of them. I'm going to go forward very quickly. So I'm not sure, but hasn't got a clear scent, I'm afraid. My goodness, he's weaving back into the thicket again. Whew, here we go, round 2. And I'm pretty sure he's probably going to do another loop and come back out again. Let's try this again, though. Now we need to try and find a spot to keep up with him. Right, David, are you all right here? Watch that wattle. Luckily, there's no thorn trees, just a few annoying branches in the way, but we'll duck and dive underneath them. Luckily, it seems to open up a little bit up ahead, so hopefully we can catch him before he disappears into another Terminalia thicket. Those are hard to navigate through. But whoever he's looking for, he's very confused. So perhaps he started off, he had the scent quite strong, and he's now lost it completely because he's calling. It, like I said, it's a very loud contact call. Normally the contact calls are very slow. The male lions obviously have a much deeper, more gruff voice. Oh, trying to find a gap here. Let's go here. He's going into a thicket again. Unfortunately, that sort of open clearing was very much short-lived. Ooh, a little bit of water in my face from the branches. Okay, we've got him again. He seems to have slowed down. Oh my goodness, David, I just have to show you something pretty incredible. Can you see? Let's see if we can focus in. I know we're going to take the attention off of the lion. There is a caterpillar or an inchworm or something that has got stuck in a spider's web. Can we see it? It's hard to see it. Hey, David?
I'm not sure you look.
I want to show you because this is... There it is to the left. Look at this that we've just come across. Now, I'm going to actually have to change my route because I don't want to ruin this little spider. What is that? It doesn't actually look like a worm. It looks like something else. I can see little antennas and looks like some legs. And a very small little spider, maybe a little bark spider. Is it a grasshopper, David? It looks like it could be something along those lines. It's a bizarre looking creature. Maybe it is a grasshopper. And I'm actually going to have to go all the way around because I don't want to destroy this little one's nest. Well, I think we will take it down here. Isn't that incredible? And this is what you find. You're driving around, you don't know what we're going to see. We've got a lion in front of us. And then we come across this beautiful creature with its breakfast. But I think let's leave it and we'll find another way around. We'll try not... Obviously, we don't want to harm that little guy and ruin that big meal, which probably sustained that spider for quite some time. So we will go another way around. Couple of U-turns and sorry, little trees. As we squeeze through this gap, I think we've already come through here. Right, let's go around and go the way that Lex went. I think that'll be quite nice, and I think he's established an easier way in. I was wondering if there's any sort of rules about guides wearing colognes or perfumes while on drive. Not really in the vehicle, it doesn't really matter so much, but if you're going for a bushwalk, well, I wouldn't recommend that you cover yourself with perfume. Obviously, everything is going to smell you coming, and the idea is to stay hidden. There you go, he's walking right behind the vehicle, as you can see. Oh my goodness, right here. And it doesn't make too much of a difference, but it's also, I mean, I don't think it's particularly nice. It's nice to just have a little bit, so you smell okay, I suppose. But nothing out here minds what you really smell like. But I'm sure that these lions are used to, and all the different animals are used to what strange things that we wear. Now, Dispatch Griffin would like to know, if we were to come across the lions on foot, how much danger would we be in? It really does depend on the situation. If it's an open area, I wouldn't be too worried. If you bumped into them into a very thick area with lots of trees and they were on a kill and all the cubs were there, well, then you probably are going to try and find yourself in, you will find yourself in a bit of trouble, because the mothers will protect their cubs as well as they'll be trying to protect their meal. If you walk into an area where it's also, again, very dense, they don't need to be on a kill or anything like that, and their only escape route is the way in which you've come in, you can imagine they have really nothing else they can do but act aggressively towards you. So you'll be listening out for growling. Their ears will be flat against their head, and they'll also be moving their tail around, sort of from side to side and up and down. And these are all agitation signs, of course. Lions are notorious for mock charging, though. The thing about a lion charge, or a mock charge, is that they'll come at you sort of very tall, making lots of noise, trying to kick dust up and try and scare you. But those mock charges, they often stop just a couple of meters away from you. Whereas if it's a real charge, they're coming in low, probably not making too much noise at all. And well, then you're going to get yourself into trouble. Now he's gone into this block, which I was hoping he wasn't going to go into. It's a big drainage system, and I don't know if we're going to, unfortunately, be able to keep up with him. It sort of starts to... I'm just going to move off the road so Lex can go past quickly. Well, he's disappearing into the drainage line, and he's been vocalizing quite a bit, so he's definitely looking for the rest of the pride. I don't know if we're going to get another view. Let's try and get out of here. Beautiful big boy on his own. And I know that Roger was wondering this morning, are lions the only family cats that we see living in family groups? And that is indeed correct. Sometimes it can be a bit difficult. You may think that cheetahs are quite social because you'll often see mom and all of her cubs, but this is not the case. Those cubs will eventually leave her and go off on their own as well. So it is indeed just the lions. That's what makes them so successful too, is living in groups. Of course, it gives him a better opportunity to take something down. Now, maybe he's going to lead us straight towards the pride. It seems as though he's either on a scent, or maybe the lionesses responded to his calls. Let's carry on. Oh, sorry, I just took my foot off the brake. I'm on a bit of a slope, but let's carry on. Let's keep up with him. We don't want to lose him again. Come on, do another big roar for us. And what I really like about him now is that you can see how lovely dark grey his body is actually going. He's looking. He's not sure where to go. He has a suspicion. And keeps looking down into this drainage, which is sort of the area where we lost the lionesses earlier today. Give him a bit of room. We're going to just keep slowly following him. But Rusty doesn't know how to go slowly. I'm going to have to go into 4x4 quickly, and then we will just crawl along. That's better. So if your screen does get a bit jumpy, we are just going to keep up with him, because at any moment he could turn off and disappear down into this drainage. So like I said, I'm literally just crawling behind him. I've given him quite a bit of space, about 20 to 30 meters or so. And you can see he's quite comfortable with the distance between us and him. Whee! Over a little bump we go. Now, No, squeaky brakes, don't start now. You go into first gear and we'll crawl even slower. He's sort of slowed down his pace quite a bit now. Now, Peter, you're wondering if there are any animals that we are scared of. I'm not particularly fond of elephant bulls in must. So that is when they get to that sort of excited state and they're wanting to mate with the females and they become quite boisterous. Now, that is probably my least favorite animal to encounter. And then on foot, I'm obviously a bit nervous of buffalo, especially buffalo bulls that are on their own, or the odd hippo can be quite interesting too. I'm going to pull off the side here. He's missioning down this road. But scared, I wouldn't say scared is the right word to use, just sort of cautious, I think is a better one to use. Let's see if he's going to call it. Yes. I was hoping he was going to do a full roar there, but unfortunately just a little bit. But Andrew, you're welcome to jump ahead. Playing leapfrog now with the lion because he's walking down on the middle of the road, which makes it quite difficult to view him. So we're going to let Andrew just get a good view as well with his guess. Anna Marie, I like your cheering on, and I agree with you, and I think that Tinyo needs to give us a big roar. He's building up to something, so perhaps we're going to get lucky. Let's go around quickly. Oh, so he's chosen not to go down Vulture's Nest. Now, I thought that would have been the next best move. Now, we've been seeing Tinyo and Mfumo hanging around with the Birmingham Pride quite often. I know that Anna was wondering exactly this. Is there any specific Birmingham that hangs around, or do they just take turns? We don't often see Nena and Nsuku, the old blondie, really coming around. Yeah, I've only seen Nena a couple of times. But it seems to be Tinyo and then, of course, Mfumo that are the dominant males of the Nkuhuma Pride. The others seem to hang around the sticks and a little bit further east, but there's obviously definite opportunities for them to come through over here, though, and obviously see the lovely Nkuhumas. There's also some wattled starlings in the road in front of Tinyo. You can see them there, and they'll probably love the fact that he comes strolling along and those insects will all sort of fly up off the ground. But there are lots and lots of birds you can see flying past him. Maybe there's even a little mound here that's spewing out some alates. And that's why they're all sort of congregating in this area. Looks like he's going to quench his thirst. No, not really going to quench his thirst. Okay, turn your volume up. Wasn't that absolutely incredible to finally get him raw? And I'm sure you saw all that mist coming off of out of his mouth as he was doing that. That was fantastic. We'll stick with him for a little bit longer, but let's go across to James, who's got a buffalo. Tinyo has decided to settle down. He's just resting up for a moment, and I don't blame him. He's covered a huge distance in such a small space of time. And he hasn't done any more roaring since you last saw him. But something that I find that's quite funny, and I've mentioned it before, how I don't think that the Nkuhumas in particular enjoy the company of the Birminghams. We often seem to see a lot of sort of agitation between all of them. And no one has responded to his calls. Not one lion. None of the females, and we know that they're just somewhere here in this drainage system. They're not far. They've sat very, very quietly, and I've seen this behavior a couple of times. I often chat about how the Charlestons and the Southern Pride have a similar relationship like the Nkuhumas do with the Birminghams. I think the Nkuhumas would be quite happy without the Birminghams. But then what would these poor Birminghams eat if they didn't have all those beautiful ladies catching them dinner all the time, or lunch or breakfast? The only difference between the two, and I've yet to see the Birmingham boys really do a good takedown on anything, is that the Charleston boys were incredible hunters, and they would often leave the Pride and go off on territorial missions, and we'd come across them, on just the two of them on their own, without the rest of the Pride, and they'd have their meal. They'd have a buffalo, they'd have zebra, kudu, you name it. So they were very, very, very good at taking down their own food. Now, we saw Mr. Tinyo walking around quite a bit, smelling the ground, and of course, when he did that beautiful belting roar, he also then marked a territory. Now, Melinda, you're wondering, what causes a lion to mark in a specific place? Well, it depends. If there were lions in the area previously, they would have come through on usually main roads and just marked around every so often. The Birminghams probably would have picked up on those old scents that the previous male lions, where they were marking, and they would have marked over those. Like I say, if it's a new lion, a new area, there's never been lions there before, he'll go on a patrol and just mark anywhere. I don't think there's anything specific or certain about it. He'll just go wherever he's walking, he's going to leave his scent, whether it's rubbing on his face for his sort of cheek glands, or if he's going to spray urine up against a tree, or both. They'll do that quite often as well. Now, it'll be interesting to see what happens this afternoon on safari, if we find the Nkuhumas with the Birmingham, or if we're just going to find Tinyo all on his own still, scouring the plains of Djuma in search of the beautiful Nkuhuma Pride. Now, Aqua is commenting on Tinyo's roar that he did for us earlier. He said that it's got a rip rattle at the end of his roar. I definitely think it sounds very, very raspy. He's got a beautiful roar, but the most beautiful call of a lion I've ever heard was from one of the Fourways male lions, which I believe they're now sort of in the Kruger and the Jock concession. They live down there, but they used to once live on the southwestern corner of the Sabi Sand. There were two brothers, and they were beautiful. And he had the most unbelievable roar I've ever heard. The way that Tinyo's roar sort of ended, his roar started like that. It was just raspy and loud, and the vehicle vibrated, and it was just absolutely incredible from start right through until the end. Now, it seems as though the clouds have lifted. I can see some blue sky popping out as well, which is good news for us this afternoon. So hopefully the sun will come through and start to dry the ground up.